So hello guys, welcome back to Tactical Trafford, and today we want to talk about the summer plans of Manchester United. We are going to be starting from the goalkeeper position up to the striker position. We are going to be analysing the players that Manchester United should possibly sell this summer and the players we should be recruiting in every position. So guys, if you're enjoying this video, I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford, because of course we are getting into the transfer window, so we are going to be making a lot of analysis on different players. And if there is any player you want me to make an analysis on, I want you guys to drop your thoughts on the comment section as we dive into this video together. So of course, when we are running through this video, we're going to be starting with player sales, and I am going to be very ruthless because Manchester United have a lot of dead woods. We have a lot of players to sell, but we definitely have to start by being ruthless, because that is one way that Manchester United can be successful. Over the past years, we have been we have not been really ruthless in terms of selling players, and that has really affected us. And you know that I've always spoken here on Tactical Trafford that Maguire shouldn't have been given a new contract. We should have moved on from Maguire and we should have gotten a new defender. But you could see that Manchester United has given him 1 year plus 1 more year in addition. That is 2 years total contract. Meanwhile, Man City were able to sell John Stones even when he could actually provide them with depth and with experience. But instead, they moved on from him and they are going to get a new central defender, and they are going to actually do well next season. But Manchester United keeps holding on to players that are no longer having the form that they used to have in their prime. So guys, let's start with the goalkeeper position. Of course, we know that Andre Onana and Arthur Bayanda has to leave Manchester United wherever they want to go or however they want to be sold. We don't actually care, but we want them to leave Manchester United. Going over to the left back position, I've always been saying it that Luke Shaw has no business with Manchester United. He has been at Manchester United for over 12 years and he has not really met the peak he was supposed to reach, probably because of the injury. And I feel that this season is hard, like an injury-free season is the best season to move on from Luke Shaw. I think Manchester United needs to move on from Luke Shaw next season, and we need to get a new left back, probably Patrick Dogu, and that midfield and that left back is going to be the depth in that position. I know that many of you view Patrick Dogu as a left winger, even Michael Carrick views him as a left winger, but he is not a left winger. We bought him as a left back and we need to get one, because we can't go into next season hoping that Patrick Dogu is going to compete with Matheus Cunha in the left wing position, and then you leave Luke Shaw with the new left back when you already know that Luke Shaw is not going to be fit. And then if that new left back gets injured, what then happens next? So of course we need to move on from Luke Shaw. We need to get a new left back that is going to combine with Patrick Dogu on the left-hand side. Also, moving over to the defensive duo, of course, we have Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven. These are probably the players we should be building the future with. These are players that I expect in the preseason. They need to have a lot of game time because, of course, they are going to help us in the defensive phase. We need to get defenders in that position, because you can't go into the Camp Nou, you can't go into the Santiago Bernabeu, you can't go into the Allianz Arena or Parc de France using Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven as your defensive pair. They need experiences. I doubt any of them has played in the Champions League before. So we need players in that position. But first of all, in terms of the defensive duo of Manchester United, when I look at that defensive position of Manchester United, I only see Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro, because Maguire is not going to be fit next season. It's not that I'm wishing him back, but that's the fact. Matthias De Ligt is going to be coming back by probably September, October. It could even be more because he carried out a surgery in his spinal region. And then we also have Lisandro Martinez, who has been injury prone for the past few years. Of course, he's a very important player for Manchester United, but he has been injury prone for a very long time, and this is going to obviously affect him next season. So we have 3 defenders that are injury prone, and these 3 defenders cannot give you a combined 50 games in a season, because Manchester United probably depends on how far we go in competitions. We can be competing actively in 4 competitions, and 3 of our defensive duo inside 5 is definitely not going to be fit for majority of the season, and we don't really need that. We need consistency. We need players that are going to be available, just like Diego Dalot has been available for Manchester United for a very long time. So personally for me, since Maguire is not sold or was not sold, I personally feel that either one of Matthias De Ligt or Lisandro Martinez has to go. They simply has to go, and they need to get a new defender, a new central back, because it is very crucial for Manchester United. We can't go into next season hoping that Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven is going to give us the required expertise by playing together. We definitely need to plan ahead. We need to get a new defender that is going to either partner with them and that is going to definitely help to coach them and give them that necessary tips they need in the central back position. And I feel that either Martinez or De Ligt should be going. And also, of course, going into the midfield, you know that Casemiro is going, Manuel Ugarte is going. And personally, for me, just like I analyzed yesterday, Messi Mount has to leave because we can't be paying him for £250,000 when he's definitely going to be, we know that he's also going to be very, very troubled with injuries next season. So of course, Messi Mount also has to go. He has to leave Manchester United. And but the stumbling block with selling Messi Mount is that Manchester United are back to the Champions League. His salary is going to be increased back to 250 grand per week. So I doubt that any club is going to be able to sign Messi Mount. Of course, because of the stumbling block of his salary, but I feel that Messi Mount should be leaving Manchester United and should be getting 4 midfielders. But it seems like Messi Mount is going to be staying at Manchester United next season, so we are looking at 3 midfielders. And then going over to the attacking position, we are pretty stacked in this position. So the only player that I feel should be leaving Manchester United in terms of the attacking position should be Joshua Zexi. So guys, let's run through on the dream transfer window of Manchester United and the players that we should be expected to sign in every position. So of course, you already know that in the goalkeeper position, Vitek is going to be coming back. He swept all the Player of the Year awards at Bristol City. So of course, he's going to be coming back to Manchester United. He's going to be competing with Lemans, but we don't know if he's going to be part of Manchester United next season. But at least for the preseason, we know that Vitek is going to be available. Like I said, for the left back position, we have picked Lewis Hall here on Tactical Trafford. If you have not watched that video, I want you guys to go back and watch that video. In terms of the left back position, we have picked Lewis Hall as the premium target to replace Luke Shaw at the left back position. Also, for me, the preferred defender I would like Manchester United to buy is Nico Schlotterbeck from Borussia Dortmund. He's like Lisandro Martinez, very good on the ball. He's a leader for Germany, captain for Borussia Dortmund. He's very, very experienced. He has played a lot of Champions League matches. He's definitely a player that is going to suit the kind of football that Manchester United wants to play, particularly with like a Carrick building up from the back. Of course, Nico Schlotterbeck is that player that we should be looking at. And then also going over to the right back position, Mazraoui and Dallas is going to be remaining for next season. So of course, I expect Mazraoui and Dallas to continue for Manchester United at the right back position for next season. So going over to the most wanted position, which is the midfield position, we already know that in any moment from now, Edison is going to become a player of Manchester United because of course the deal is being close to be completed with Atlanta for a fee of 45 million euros. So of course Edison is going to be a player of Manchester United. So we need 2 more midfielders. So what are those positions going to be? Because for me, I view Edison as a box-to-box midfielder, as a number 8, a player that can be able to replace Kobe Mino if he's injured. So now we have to sign 2 defensive midfielders because Ugarte and Casemiro is leaving. And I see many thoughts online that Manchester United should be getting Edison, Tonali, and Matheus Fernandes and whatnot. But I feel that there is no number 4. There is no natural defensive midfielders in those positions that are being called. Of course, most of them can play in the number 6 position or in the number 8 position, but they are not naturally defensive midfielders. So for me, including Edison, if I want to get a defensive midfielder for Manchester United, it's going to be, or if I want to get a midfield throw for Manchester United, it's going to be Matheus Fernandes, Edison, and one of Baleba or one of Bruno Guimaraes. Because of course, you know that on Tactical Trafford that I love Bruno Guimaraes a lot because he's going to provide us with whatever we need at Manchester United. And also, I've made a video on Bruno Guimaraes, on Matheus Fernandes, on Carlos Baleba, on Edison. So if you guys have not watched that video, I want you guys to go and watch that video and see how they can tactically fit into the system of Michael Carrick and also help Manchester United in different phases. So in terms of my pick, I'm definitely going to be going with Edison, Matheus Fernandes, or Bruno Guimaraes, or Carlos Baleba, or Elliot Anderson. And even though Elliot Anderson is not a defensive midfielder, but at least he can be able to do the job. But we have a lot of players to sign when it comes to defensive midfield position. But I feel that majority of these players that is being called for Manchester United, they are not natural defensive midfielders, and I think we need a defensive midfielder. Probably for me, like I said, Edison, Matheus Fernandes, and Bruno Guimaraes, or Elliot Anderson. Also going over to the attacking positions, we know that we need to get a new left winger, and there are not much left wingers in the market. Probably that's why they want to use Patrick Dogu as a left winger next season and try to get a left back. But I feel that we should get a 1v1 specialist in the left wing position. Probably there are going to be names from the data and the recruitment team. So let's wait and see who they are going to be getting in that position. And then for the number 9 position, we need a backup number 9, or a number 9 that is going to be competing with Benjamin Šeško, and definitely I'm going to be picking probably Lautaro Martinez or Jean-Philippe Mateta from Crystal Palace. These are my options for the number 9 position. I want you guys to give me your thoughts in the comment section on the various players you want in these various positions. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to that. See you guys in my next video.